Hi everybody, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Shiko. So glad that you could join me today. If this is your first time here, karibu sana. If you're returning back to watch my videos, thank you so much for coming back to watch my videos. And in this channel, I'm more about self-awareness, self-discovery. I also talk about mental health wellness, and I talk about different topics every day that relates to our day-to-day life activities. And these are things that I'm very passionate about. They are also things that I have observed from the society. I like to say that I'm a keen observer of the society. And some of the things are also things that I've gone through on a very personal level. And so I am very passionate on what I do and what I say, because I would like my videos to be very helpful to somebody, or to just help somebody to learn something new or to be a better version of themselves. So karibu sana. And today I'm going to talk about forgiving yourself, and this is a very, very important topic to me, and I think it's going to be very helpful to you as well. So thank you so much for watching, and please consider liking, commenting, subscribing if you haven't, and also sharing with your friends that you think this video will be helpful to them. So let's get right into it. So I'll start by saying that there is a very common misconception that refusing to forgive yourself proves that you are more sorry. There is that common misconception that if you don't forgive yourself, it proves that you're really, 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 really sorry about what you did. And sometimes we feel like approaching the world through the worst things we have done, or through something that we have done, actually buys us more grace. And that is not true. There are times that we really want to see life, or we want to approach the world, or we want to approach people through the worst things that we have done, with the sense of that is going to give you more grace, and it's going to earn you more grace concerning what you have done. And that is not true at all, because when you approach, when you approach the world with what you have done or things that you're guilty of, it actually makes you more guilty. It doesn't lose you from what you have done. And so it's very, very important for you to forgive yourself. And so I'm going to just mention a few tools on how you can forgive yourself, or things that you can apply to actually to achieve the goal of forgiving yourself. And just a little disclaimer, these are my own personal views. These are things that I have applied, and also things that I have heard from friends or relatives, things that I can relate with on my own personal view. Doesn't have to apply to anyone. And so one of the tools that I'm going to mention is disconnect your mistake from your identity. There are times that when we do mistakes, sometimes we do tend to think that is our identity, that the mistake we did is our identity, and that's not true. You did a mistake, and that does not define who you are. It doesn't say that this is who you are as a person. So you need to know that if, for example, you did something that was foolish or stupid, or something that wasn't right, it doesn't mean that you're a wrong person. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy of, doing something that is great. That is just a mistake, and it does not give you identity. It does not define you. Mistakes are here for us to do. We are human beings. We'll always make mistakes, but we do not have to draw our identity from our mistakes. They don't have to define us. They don't mean that is who we are as a people. And so the most important thing to do, or one of the important things to do when you want to forgive yourself, is actually disconnecting your mistake from your identity. Is not who you are. The other thing is to ask for forgiveness. Asking for forgiveness to yourself, number one, is very important. There are so many people who hold themselves guilty of some things that they did, some mistakes that they did, and they do not find the strength or the grace to forgive themselves. So it's very important for you to say to yourself that I forgive me. I forgive me for the mistake that I did. I forgive me for the mistakes that I have done. I forgive me for doing what I shouldn't have done when the mistake was occurring, or when whatever you did occurred, that happened. You need to forgive yourself. And also, most of the times when we are doing mistakes, or when we are doing something that is not right, it normally even affects other people. So it's also good to also ask for forgiveness, right? Go ask for forgiveness from somebody you have wronged, or maybe somebody that you are really not in good terms with. Just tell them, hi, I've come to ask for forgiveness, because forgiveness is a gift that you give to yourself. It's not a gift that you give the other person, it's the gift that you give to yourself, just to free yourself from being a captive of whatever mistake that you did. So it's very, and I will insist that it's very important to ask for forgiveness, not only to others but also to yourself, because you will keep on holding yourself captive of what you did and of your mistakes. So that is one of the things that you can do to forgive yourself. The other thing I would say is accept the consequences. Every action, everything that we do in this life has a consequences. Whether it's good or bad consequences, there always be consequences at the end of the day. So once you know that you did something that wasn't right, it was a mistake, you need to accept the consequences. If, for example, you cheated, you need to accept the consequences of your cheating. If you stole something, you need to accept the consequences of your stealing. And so we also most of the time find people who don't accept the consequences of their actions. And so that brings along so many things. It can bring along friction. It can bring along distress. Maybe you did something to your spouse, or maybe to your parents, or to your siblings, and you just won't accept the consequences of your actions, and that is really not right. So one way to achieving forgiveness and to forgive yourself, it's to accepting the consequences of your actions and your behavior and your mistakes, and that is going to go a long way. The other thing that you can do to achieve forgiveness, or rather how to forgive yourself, is think of the mistake as a learning process. If you approach the world in a way that everything is a learning process, that changes your mentality, that changes your attitude. It also changes the way you deal with other people, and how you approach other people, and how you relate with other people, and also, most importantly, how you relate to yourself. So it's important for you to think of all the mistakes and all the things that you have done in life as a learning process. Don't see something as something that was supposed to depress you, or it did something, it changed you, it changed the way you see things. Just think of it of, I came through this, I went through this. What lessons do I take from this situation? Or what lessons do I take from the mistake that I did? Or what lessons can I draw out from whatever happened to me? And also, what lessons can I teach to somebody else who is going through a similar thing as me, or who is going through something that is, almost absolute to what I went through? So it's very important for you to see every mistake and everything you go through life as a learning process. And I think that is going to change your whole perspective, even as a person. The other thing that you can actually do to achieve forgiving yourself is showing kindness and compassion to yourself. Um, and I say this with a lot of, like concern, because in the African culture context, we are not really taught on how to be very kind to ourselves, and how to be very compassionate to ourselves. And so most of the time when we do something wrong, or when we are told that we have wronged another person, we tend to be very passive aggressive, or sometimes aggressive, or sometimes really holding ourselves with so much guilt. And with guilt comes anger and comes shame. And we do fall into the pattern of being so unkind and uncompassionate to ourselves, which is not really healthy. It's very important for you to show yourself kindness. You made a mistake, you're a human being. that does not really mean that you do not deserve good things in this life. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve good friends. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be heard. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve to speak your mind. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve to feel loved. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve love as well. Mistakes are there to be made. I always say that there is no manual to living life. We only do what we think and how we think best. And so many at times we will find ourselves making mistakes. We find ourselves, even hurting other people. And the most important thing that you can do to yourself is just you show yourself kindness and be compassionate to yourself, because there is nobody else who can be kind to you other than yourself. The world, even right now, most importantly, has become a very unkind place. They normally say that everybody for themselves, God for us all. And so it's very, and I will insist on, very important for you as a person, as an individual, to be very kind and very compassionate to yourself. Tell yourself you did the mistakes. Mistakes are there to be made. They do not mean that that is who you are. They don't mean that that is your identity. It doesn't mean that that is who you are as a person. It's life. And life has to have its ups and its downs. And so please show yourself kindness. And I believe when you show yourself kindness and compassion, then you'll be able to extend that to another person, because it's really important. Sometimes I like to think of bullies. When I see people bullying other people on the internet, I normally wonder, what are you not kind to yourself? Because if you're kind to yourself and if you're very compassionate to yourself, then you cannot be unkind to another person, because we only give what we have. There is no way you can convince me that you are a kind person and you go ahead and call somebody else bad names, or bully another person. That means you're really struggling with being kind to yourself and compassionate to yourself. So please be careful to be kind to yourself and be very compassionate to yourself. And there is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that you're selfish. It doesn't mean that you are self-centered. Being kind to yourself is selfful, because what is in you is what you give out, and is the energy that you exude to the world. So yeah, it's really important. The other thing that you can do to achieve forgiving yourself is focus on your emotions. Focus on how you feel. Focus on the negative things that you are enduring. Focus on the positive things that you are enduring. Be in tune with your emotions. If you're feeling sad, identify that you're feeling sad. If you're feeling angry, identify that you are angry and what is making you angry. Focus on what you are feeling. Emotions are very, very important, because at times when you're feeling something and you are not very in tune with how you're feeling, then you can easily project that on another person. So once you really identify that this is what I'm feeling and you focus on it, then it allows you, even, on a very personal level, it also allows you to deal with it and to be able to move from there. And so those are just a few tools that you can apply to really, forgiving yourself and forgiving others. It's very important to forgive yourself, to let go, and also let God. It's really important to walk with forgiveful heart. It's very important to be very forgiving to yourself and also to others. And just before I end this video, I also like talking about how God has forgiven us. As a Christian, sometimes we can hold ourselves so guilty and not able even to approach God to actually ask God to forgive us and to ask God to let go of what we have done. Or even at times, we do not know how to ask God for forgiveness, because you simply feel that if you ask God to forgive you, then you are not sorry enough for what you have done. Let me tell you that God died for us all, and through his son Jesus Christ, and he's a peak of forgiving us. He died for us even when he was the Son of God was not a sinner, but he took our sinful nature for us to be set free. So please find it in your heart to forgive yourself, find it in your heart to forgive others, and I think that is going to give you strength and energy to keep on moving forward. So if you think that this video is going to be very helpful to somebody else or even to yourself, please feel free to share, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That will go a long way. Let me think of what you think of this video in the comment section. If there are things you'd like me to talk about, or if you're struggling with a specific issue, you can you can talk to me, and I will be there for you as much as I can. Let us be there for one another. Let us not forget on what it means to be there for another person in this era of chatting and calling. It's also very important for us to relate on a human to human level, because that is why we are human beings and not animals. So please feel free to share, comment, subscribe, and like this video. And I'll see you in my next video. And until then, may God be with you, may God protect you, may his light shine upon you. Bye.